Alright, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a great day. Welcome to MTG Star. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing a review on the Magic the Gathering Jace Ingenious Mage Planeswalker deck. Now, I absolutely love this deck. It does everything that I want it to do. And here I have a handful of cards to show you guys and kind of explain what this deck can do, its strengths, its weaknesses, and so on. And I'm going to start this off with the card River Herald's Boon. Now, this is a 1 green, 1 of any color. Now, this aspect of these first so many cards I'm going to show you are about the fact that this deck has a lot to do with a ton of merfolk and then boosting your merfolk to make them bigger, which is nice because there's a lot of good cheap ones that you're making bigger that would generally cost you 2-3 plus mana for maybe 1 to 2 mana and stuff like that. And I absolutely love that fact about this deck. So we're going to start off again with River Herald's Boon. 1 green, 1 of any color. It's an instant. You put a +1/+1 counter on target creature and also a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target merfolk. Then next we have a awesome little 1/1 Jungle Delver. He is 1 green for he's 1 green and he's a 1/1. And you could pay 1 green, 3 of any color, put a +1/+1 counter on Jungle Delver. Then next we have Herald of Secret Streams. He's a 1 blue, 3 of any color, Merfolk Warrior. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them cannot be blocked. There's a few different aspects of not being blocked or tapping and stuff like that this deck does very well and just all around makes it a ton of fun to pilot. Then next we have Cominius Speaker. It gets a +1/+1 as long as you control another merfolk or island, which is really nice about this deck. It's not difficult to be pulling an island, and the best thing about it is even if you can't pull an island, there's a ton of merfolk in this deck that run off just green alone, or just green and then colorless, or whatever choice you want to use to bring it out. So it's not incredibly difficult to give them that +1/+1. I'm always bringing them out, usually as a 2/2 for 1, and it's incredibly advantageous. Next, we have a card I really like, and it's Shapers of Nature. It's 1 blue, 1 green, and 1 of any color. It's a 3/3. Now, you can pay 1 green, 3 of any color, and put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, and I like it because these +1/+1s are permanent. So I can sit there, and if I have the mana to do it, which in most cases I usually do, I can sit there and keep boosting my merfolk, making them bigger and bigger, or just whatever creature I want to be larger, and just keep boosting them and making them larger, and it's so much fun. Or you can pay 1 blue, 2 of any color, remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control, and draw a card. I've had to use that quite a few times, and I love the draw card aspect. It's very nice. Then next we have Jade Guardian. What I love about this card is the fact that it has hexproof. I absolutely love the ability hexproof. And for the people who don't know, as it obviously says right here, it says this creature cannot be the target of spells or abilities your opponent controls, which is incredibly advantageous, makes it very hard to kill. It is 1 green, 3 of any color, and then it says right here, when Jade Guardian enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target merfolk you control. So again, that is that aspect of the fact that you can sit there and keep boosting your merfolk or even other target creatures and keep making them bigger, making your board more aggressive and scary, and putting your opponent into submission. Then next we have Vine Shaper Mystic. He's 1 green, almost 3, 2 of any color. When Vine Shaper Mystic enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target merfolk you control. I love the fact that you can put it on up to 2 target merfolk because, again, this deck is very merfolk heavy. So this deck is this card is very advantageous to this deck, being able to put 2 +1/+1 counters. I guess better way to put it, 1 +1/+1 counter on up to 2 merfolk, which is incredibly nice. I absolutely love that aspect of this card. Now this deck, this is what comes up to our next point, which is flying creatures. And that's what's nice about this. It doesn't have a ton of flying creatures, but it can get you in that position to give you a little bit of kind of a boost, especially if somebody's running a heavy flying deck. So you have Air Elemental. This card is a very big staple throughout Magic. It's been reprinted countless times because it's a fan favorite. And it's a 2 blue, 3 of any color, simple 4/4 flyer. Incredibly simple, but a very good card to use, especially in those mid games and against those flyers. That's the biggest thing about that. And then we have Shaper Apprentice, and this is another card that comes down to that flying aspect. He's 1 blue, 1 of any color, and he has flying as long as you control another merfolk, which is incredible, simple, and easy to do because you have a ton of low-cost ones in this deck, which is another great thing about this deck. Ton of low-cost merfolk. You can make a lot of moves very fast, and that's what I love about this. And then next, I absolutely love this card. This is the card I like to use once my board is full and I have a ton of boosted cards and I have a ton of big creatures. This is the card I like to use to devastate my opponent. Now this is Tempest Collar. It's 2 blue, 2 of any color, and it says when Tempest Collar enters the battlefield, tap all creatures target opponent controls. Now this card I absolutely love. This I had to give this got the second look when I saw this card, because I was like, wow, there's so many low-cost creatures. I can make them all bigger, and then if I play this card out, I can full-out swing and hit them for everything I have. And it is incredibly awesome. And then the next one, this one is very interesting to me. I do not see too many cards like this, other than like Eldrazi's, like the, what's his name? Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. That's what that makes me, that's the card that I think of when I see this card. Now we have Fleet Swallower. He's 2 blue, 5 of any color. Yes, he's costly, but you gotta read this ability. Whenever Fleet Swallower attacks, doesn't have to do damage. Just when it attacks, target player puts the top half of his or her library rounded up into his or her graveyard. Now this is awesome. Now this comes down to the idea of milling. Now what anybody knows, if somebody's been successfully milled, that basically means when you go to draw a card and there's no cards there, you lose. That's the end of the game. But what's so great about this card is that continuous milling, if you can keep hitting them each turn every time. And that's nice because, especially if it's something like a mono red burn or something of that nature, because if you keep hitting with this card, you could keep taking away those answers they need to take care of your creatures and get themselves back in the advantage. Now next we have here is Growing Rights of Itlimoc. I will first point out, yes, this was not in the deck if you've already opened this and seen it yourself. And for people who don't know, yes, this is not in the deck. This is what I got from the 2 booster packs. Yes, you get 2 booster packs that come with this. Of course, if you can tell, let me focus in on it. Right there it says in the top left corner of the box includes 2 booster packs. I was able to be very lucky and get the Growing Rights of Itlimoc. I believe it's this green one, and it's also, I want to say it's the green and the red one are the really good ones that have some good value and are very useful at this point in time. But this card is very good, and I'm going to run through it right now for you guys. So, okay, so it's 1 green, 2 of any color, legendary enchantment. When Growing Rights of Itlimoc enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from amongst them, put it into your hand. Now that's incredibly advantageous, especially if you have just a ton of spells or enchantments or just land in your hand. It gives you a chance to get those creatures when you have that land available and you have the resources, but you have no firepower. So that gives you that chance to get that firepower, put it on the board, and get yourself back up on top. Now, it says put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 more creatures, which again is insanely easy with this deck because there's so many low-cost merfolk. It's so easy. And then it says, if you have 4 more creatures, transform it. Now we're going to quickly show you the transform here. And it says, Itlimoc, Cradle of the Sun. Now I love when this turns into the legendary land, when this transforms. Because then it says, tap to add green to your mana pool, or tap to add green to your mana pool for each creature you control. Now, see, the fact of the matter is you have to have 4 or more just to transform this. So that means you could be tapping for 4 green mana. Or more if you even have more than 4 creatures. So this thing, when it transforms, becomes incredibly advantageous. And even when it just comes out in the field, it's such a good card. I absolutely love that, and I feel very fortunate to be able to pull that from the packs that I got with this deck. Now next we have Grasping Currents. Now this one doesn't have too much relevance. It's just that its main ability is what brings its relevance. Now it has 1 blue, 4 of any color. And the reason I say no real relevance is because of the fact that it has 1 main goal. It doesn't affect the game as much as like the +1/+1 counters or the flying and stuff like that. It has 1 main goal, 1 thing it does, that's it. And it says return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hand. And then it says, search your library or your graveyard for a card named Jace, Ingenious Mind Mage. Reveal it, put it in your hand. If you search your library this way, then shuffle it. Now, of course, then what that card does is it brings out this bad boy right here, Jace, Ingenious Mind Mage. See, now, what I want to point out is at the time that I got this, I paid about $15 for it. And the funny thing is, him plus the Growing Rights of Itlimoc paid for the deck and everything that I paid for in its own. So in other words, I basically paid for a Jace and paid for a Growing Rights and got all the rest of the cards in deck for free. That's why I'm so passionate and so happy about this deck that I purchased, because I got so much out of it. Now let's read through him. Okay, so it's Jace, Ingenious Mind Mage for 2 blue, 4 of any color. And his first ability is a +1, and you get to draw a card. I will use that +1 constantly. I never usually have to end up using the second +1, which is untap all creatures you control. That, of course, can be very advantageous if you are on the defensive. And then his final ability is a -9. It says gain control of up to 3 target creatures. I absolutely love that if you can get to that point where you can get those 9 loyalty counters, take control, especially if they only have 2 to 3 creatures. So you just take control of all their creatures, and then let's say you have 6 creatures. You take their 3. That's 9 total creatures that you're swinging full at them for an easy kill and a very satisfying win. Alright guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and, of course, a thumbs down if you didn't. Now, I do apologize. I was really hoping that the booster box of Unstable would be here the day that this is uploaded. Sadly, I think I'll actually be seeing it tomorrow. And my plan is to actually do it in 2 parts. Now, I will explain this as quick as I can. So what I'm going to do, the first part, I'll, of course, open half. I'm doing the first half by myself. And then what I'm going to be doing is on Thursday, this coming Thursday, I will be having a special guest, a very good friend of mine, opening and doing the second part with me. And I think it's going to be a ton of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. I truly do, because I'm very excited for this set. I've seen a lot of the spoilers, and I'm incredibly excited. But on that note, guys, again, I hope you enjoyed the video. And I will see you guys in the next video. And you have a fantastic day.